feel like making. Feel like making love. Oh yeah. Feel like making love.
Oh yeah, he is one of the greatest singers in the history of rock and roll, from the bands Free and Bad Company to his collaborations with the likes of Queen, Jimmy Page. Paul Rodgers topped the Billboard Blues charts with his latest release. It's The Royal Sessions, and he joins us this morning, the legendary Paul Rodgers. Welcome to Toronto. And congrats.
Good morning, Dina.
I am so happy to be holding up vinyl. There's a
Yes.
resurgence in this bad boy, as well as everything else modern.
Yes.
Talk to us about, first of all, the Royal Sessions, how it came to be. I hear it started in Memphis.
Well, actually, I was working on a completely different project with my producer, Perry Margoleff. And we talked about our influences, and we always talk about, I always tell him about Stax and the blues and soul influences. And he suddenly found himself down in Memphis at the Royal Studios, and he called me and said, you know, this place is still here, and it's still fantastic. And the chap that runs the place, Boo Mitchell, told us that we could have all the best session musicians if you want to do a session. So we went down there, we did 3 days, and it was so good. We had such a great time.
But here's the best part.
I went back and did a full album.
But you didn't tell them that you were the one going in to record. They just thought it was some, like, you know, some artist, and in walks Paul Rodgers. So were they like, oh my gosh, it's Paul Rodgers?
Well, what they did, what Perry wanted to do, he didn't want anyone to have any preconceived ideas. It was just about the music, you see. So when I walked in, they were like, oh, okay. But there was a moment when I kind of had to prove that I could actually sing, which is their music. You know, these guys really were at the cutting edge of this music when it was first formed back in the 60s. And so there was a moment when I had to kind of prove myself a little bit. So I went to the mic and I said, let's just kick off with If I Were the Sun Way Up There, you know. And then everyone went, oh, okay, I think we could do this thing. Yeah. And it was like that right the way through. We just had a blast with all this material.
And analog versus digital. You were kicking it old school. You prefer that?
Well, we prefer to call it the school, actually, because that's really, I mean, the difference between analog and digital, scientifically, right, I'm told, is that digital hits your ear in steps like this, sharp steps, whereas analog hits your ear in waves, so you get a full spectrum sound. So we went in specifically to do the album in analog, old tape, from start to finish.
Love it.
And pretty much everything we played live on the studio floor.
And then this weekend, yesterday in fact, you were at Sunrise Records. Why is it so important? I mean, there seems to be a resurgence in vinyl, an appreciation for vinyl, and the hiss that people used to complain about. They're kind of craving that again.
There is such a bigger sound. There's more low end, there's more high end, there's more everything. There's a stronger signal in digital. I think, you know, in analog, I should say, I think, you know, we can't really, the future is here, and the future is digital. It's so very convenient to have all the downloads and everything. But I think music, if you really want to appreciate music, it's like the difference between a fast food meal and a home-cooked meal, in a way, you know, the difference between analog and vinyl. So people are rediscovering analog, and I myself rediscovered it. Making this album, I realized, wow, this is such a good sound, it's the way to go.
And you said that during commercial break. You said this was truly my passion, and you could tell you're just beaming with joy over it, which is the best feeling as an artist.
Yes.
And when you've traveled the world, as you have with Queen, you know, in front of this concert stages filled with tens of thousands, and then you get to do something like this that's truly yours. What is the difference like? Because they are very different things, but they provide you, I'm sure, with as much reward and joy.
Yeah, the whole thing was a joy to do from start to finish. This music is the music that I listened to when I first started out, when I was 14 and 15 years old, and it did something to me, and that has stayed with me through all of these years, through all of the bands, you know, Free, Bad Company, The Firm, all the songwriting and everything. This music has stayed with me. So to actually be present in the same studio where it was recorded with a lot of the guys that were there at the time, and they're real masters of their craft, was unbelievable for me.
Pretty special.
Yeah.
Also special is the fact that you are proudly Canadian as of 2011. Yay, he's
Very
ours.
proudly.
Well, he's not
Thank you,
ours.
Canada. Thank you.
I lied. We share you with your beautiful wife who's watching on the sidelines right now. Tell us how that came to be and why you decided to come on over to the north side.
Well, I mean, I'm a Canadian citizen entirely because I married a Canadian lady, really.
Beautiful.
And, you know, at first I was commuting between here and England, you know, and it was kind of crazy, and I was staying longer and longer. And I turned to Cynthia one day and I said, you know, I think I live here, don't I? And she said, I think you do. So, you know, and that's where it went from there. But Canada's been great for me.
Yeah, what do you love so much about Canada? You really do enjoy the wilderness. You live out
yes,
west.
I do. I like the fact that it has an Englishness here. There's a real good connection between the two countries. A lot of history, but it's like England with elbow room is what I describe it. You know, there's more space.
Well said, and a lot of healthier cuisine, although you guys are doing better across the pond now as well.
Yeah.
Make sure you pick it up. First of all, follow Paul at _Paul Rodgers. It's Rodgers. Make sure you get the spelling, paulrodgers.com. Pick up the Royal Sessions, and you're coming back. You're on tour in July.
I'm actually on tour right now with my solo band, and I'll be back in the area on July the 8th with
July
Bad
the 8th.
Company.
Oh my gosh, so you're going to have to come back.
We've got 2 tours back to back, my solo one and then Bad Company.
And are you bringing Cynthia?
Yes.
Okay, good. I have to give you some restaurant recommendations so you enjoy your stay here as well. A pleasure.
My pleasure.
I am in good company with Sir Paul Rodgers, one of the 100 greatest voices of all time, and with good reason. Thank you so much. Over to
Thanks,
Kev
Tina.
in the newsroom.